Hey guys, today I'm going to introduce you to one of my most favorite intensity techniques. I probably always say that, but this truly is one of my most favorite. And intense is the best way to describe it, and it's called FST-7 training. So it's fascia stretch training, and the 7 represents how many sets you do for whatever muscle you're isolating with this principle, this technique. Now, fascia stretch training is fabulous for building that full muscle belly. Like, I do a lot of fascia with my biceps, with my shoulders, with my triceps, with my quads, glutes. You want to do isolation moves, not compound moves. So you wouldn't use this for like a squat, like big compound moves, but more in muscle isolation. And there's a lot of science behind why and how to use it. I'm not going to bore you with all that, although I would enjoy rambling on and on and on. You'd probably be bored to death. So we'll keep it really simple just so you understand why we're doing it and how to employ it for yourself to get the most. So now what this does is it actually stimulates muscle growth and hypertrophy. And on top of that, it really promotes the well-rounded muscles. So, when you see somebody, they've got, biceps that are really full, the belly of their bicep is full, the belly of their quad is full, their glute is really full. That's because they have really been able to stretch that fascia, or they may have fascia that is a little bit thinner. There's 3 types of fascia. The kind of fascia we're dealing with here is the deeper fascia. That is generally much thicker than just the overlaying fascia that you kind of see laying over the muscle, like on a chicken breast. And the thicker it is, the harder it is to see the swole or the belly of the muscle, the fullness of the muscle. So what fascia stretch training does is it gets deep into that deep fascia. And because this is intensity and volume training blended together, because we're adding those 2 intensity techniques together, we are able to really stretch the muscle cell. When we stretch the muscle cell, because we're flooding it with water, we're flooding it with lactic acid, and it's swelling up, what it does is it triggers your body to say, oh my goodness, we might overload, we might burst our muscle cells, which of course you're not going to do. But what your body does is, in order to keep your body safe, it then will trigger protein synthesis, and it will trigger your body to start building the wall of that muscle cell thicker. Now, when we get that muscle cell thicker and you have millions and millions of cells laying on top of each other, you start to get that fullness of the muscle. So it's one more way to get that hypertrophy, that stimulation of the muscle growth itself, so that you can really see the muscle and the fullness and the striation. So it gets the volume of the muscle and the muscle belly fullness. So if you want to have, like long dancer legs with a nice full belly in the muscle, if you want to have nice arms that, have some good shape to them, this is a wonderful technique to use. Now, we're always going to couple this with first your regular straight sets. So maybe 3 to 4 different moves, more compound moves. We're gonna go heavy on those in that 8 to 12 rep range. Not any lower, we're not gonna go below 8, but definitely not any higher than 12. I'm gonna put 8 to 12 on your program most of the time for this, but 8 to 10 is perfect, right in that range. And then the last set of that workout, working that group. So let's say it was chest day. And then maybe I have you go over to the pec deck. And on the pec deck, we're going to do isolation pec moves, and we're going to do FS7. Now, when you see FST7, what you're going to understand is that we're going to pick the weight that I can normally curl. So let's say I curl normally 35-pound dumbbells for 8 to 10 reps, just depending on the day and what I've done beforehand, okay? I'm gonna walk up to the rack, I'm gonna grab my 35s because I want to pick the weight that I normally would do that 8 to 12 rep range in. Now, the struggle is we're going to do 7 sets with very short rest periods, and I'll explain why in a second, between those sets. And so the struggle will become very real to finish all 7 sets at that same weight you began with. But I want you to push yourself as hard as you possibly can. Excluding injury, I do not want you to change that weight. Only if you feel like, no, I'm really gonna injure myself if I can't keep my form correct. Then go ahead and drop it. And matter of fact, I would suggest doing a drop set then. Do 35s, and if I can only get 8, drop to 30s and finish out the set. Rest your 30 seconds, do 35s, drop set to 30s. And that drop set would still only be 1 set. So 35 for 5 reps, 30s for 5 reps. That's 1 set in the 7 sets you have to do, okay? But hopefully you don't have to do the drop set. You walk up to that rack and you grab those dumbbells. Now, I want you to make sure when you're picking the weight, remember, even in bicep curls, the simplest move in the world, everybody all over the gyms, everywhere, every day are not doing them correctly. Because if we do this, we're actually incorporating the shoulder and the bicep. What we want to do with the bicep curl is lock our shoulder blades down and retracted. They're locked in. We're not moving our shoulders at all. And I think of that dowel running through my body, through my elbows so that they cannot move. And then I curl, okay? So if I can keep this form right here with 35s for 8 to 12, that's the number, that's the weight I'm gonna start with. If I have to do this or this, any craziness like that, that's not the weight. You will never get correct form for this many sets if you're already cheating on the front end. So pick the weight that you have correct form for the move, 8 to 12 reps. You're going to do your first set. Let's say I get 10 of bicep curls. I'm gonna set down that 35-pound weight. I'm gonna time, and yes, you do need to time this, for 30 seconds. And as soon as that timer goes off, I've got those dumbbells and I'm pumping out again. And maybe only get 8 this time, that's okay. I'm gonna drop the dumbbells at 8. When I hit total fatigue, total failure, drop those dumbbells, time 30 seconds, go again. I'm gonna repeat that for 7 times. Now the reason this 30 seconds is so key is because remember, we're stretching that fascia. We're telling the muscle cell, you're going to grow, you're gonna grow, you're gonna swell. Because so much water and lactic acid and everything is flowing into that cell that it's expanding and expanding like blowing up a balloon, okay? Well, when we rest, then it releases that tension. If we rest too long, that tension's gonna be fully released and we won't get the full swollenness in the muscle cell that we want. So the 30 seconds is key because the 30 seconds is gonna be like a balloon with a small pinprick in it. We filled that balloon up as far as it could go. The pinprick's gonna slowly leak some air out, but as long as we blow on it again in 30 seconds, it's not gonna totally deflate, it's just gonna shrink down a little bit. We wanna keep that tension on the cell wall to keep telling that muscle, we need you to do protein synthesis. We need you to build a stronger muscle cell here, cell wall here. We need you to send the nutrients and everything to this muscle so that it will get that full body, it will get that stretch, and we can get the hypertrophy that we're looking for. Now, there's a couple other key things that are very important. You will likely be much more sore after doing FST-7 than normal because of what we're requiring of the muscle here. So keep that in mind. It's even more important that you stay hydrated. So make sure you go into your workout hydrated, you're sipping water through your workout, and you're getting that, gallon of water a day because that is really going to be important for the repairing. Also, make sure you're getting enough rest and you're following the meal plan that we have set you up on, because what we're doing here in these kinds of intensity techniques is really going to require a lot of restorative processes after the workout. We're going to tear it down in the workout, but you have to facilitate the growth of the muscle, the repairing of the muscle after the workout by the way you're hydrating, the way you're sleeping, and the way you're eating. So be sure to stick to your food plan and your water as well. All right, you guys, enjoy FST-7. It's one of my favorites.